The tree that gives the knowledge of good and evil. Before this story, we learned about the creation of Adam and Eve. They lived together with God, cared for the land, and experienced great joy. Yet there was still a choice God gave them. Now we will learn more about that choice, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and Adam and Eve's temptation to choose against God, inspired by the book of Genesis. Adam and Eve lived naked with one another in the garden. There was no need to feel ashamed of anything, since their hearts had not been exposed to evil. They lived together in spiritual, emotional, and physical bliss, and they were close to God. Yet in the garden there was a lurking evil in the form of a serpent. He was crafty and a deceitful messenger determined to lure man away from God's loving presence. While God spoke life into existence, the serpent spoke death, his words directed towards Eve, trying to twist and deceive. He approached her saying, "Did God really say you could not eat from any tree in the garden?" Eve replied, "We may eat of the fruit of the trees in the garden. However, God instructed us not to eat of the fruit of the tree of good and evil, nor shall we touch it, lest we die." The serpent, knowing that pride was the path away from God, said, "You will not surely die. God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like Him, knowing all good and evil." This enticed Eve, and has enticed humanity for all generations after her. The possibility of being our own gods has directed the path of evil for thousands of years. Eve, filled with a deep curiosity and desire to be like God herself, ate the fruit. She did this with Adam beside her. She looked to Adam, the man supposed to care for her heart, and gave him the fruit also. Adam saw the fruit and saw that it was good to eat, so he ate it too. By eating the fruit, they sacrificed eternal intimacy with the one who had breathed life into them. At this moment, the relationship humanity had with God was fractured. Their eyes were opened to the existence of evil, and their hearts were exposed to sin and the shame it caused. No longer cloaked with God's righteousness, Adam and Eve saw their nakedness for the first time and were ashamed. Their physical nakedness represented a deep spiritual nakedness. They desperately looked to cover themselves up with leaves, although no clothes would ever cover their true shame. God was walking through the quiet of the garden. Adam and Eve heard him and immediately hid themselves. God, knowing full well what had happened, called out, "Adam, where are you?" Adam replied, "Here I am. I am naked, and afraid for you to see me." Adam's fear of being seen naked revealed a much deeper separation between him and God. God, with both intense anger and loving compassion, said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree I commanded you not to eat?" Adam fell deeper and deeper into his own shame and tragedy. He pointed towards Eve, his companion, and the woman he was meant to love and protect, and threw blame towards her. "The woman you gave me, she gave me the fruit." Eve was falling into the same self-loathing and pride, and now left alone by her husband, she pointed to the serpent and said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." God looked to the serpent and said, "Because of this you are cursed to crawl and eat dust for the rest of your days. One day I will make things right, and a son of Eve will come, and you will bruise his heel, but he will crush your head." This would be the foreshadowing of Jesus coming to put an end to evil on the cross. Then God turned to Adam and Eve, lamenting their choice to live as their own gods. Their choice would not come without consequences. God said to Eve, "The blessing life will not come without struggle, and childbirth will come with great pain. You will also struggle continually with your husband and resent his leadership over you." He then turned to Adam. "Because you listened to your wife and ate from the tree I commanded you not to, cursed is the ground that you work on. You will have to work every day for the rest of your life to earn your food. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread until you die, for you are dust, and to dust you shall return." Adam and Eve's unity with God was fractured. Their knowledge of evil caused their hearts and their bodies to feel pain. Yet even in their disobedience, God's love for them remained, and would always remain. He killed an animal and made clothes for them. An innocent life was taken so they could be warm and feel safe again. This would be an image used for the rest of history. God cast Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden and put an angel with a fiery sword to keep them away from the tree of life forever. But God's story to love people is not over. He would remain with them, and the story of redemption would begin to unfold before their eyes.